Well, I'm Dan Mabee, president of Bighorn Oil and Gas, and I have here with me today Mr. Allred. We call him Shorty. He's head of our drilling operations, and Shorty's had a great history around the world. I think probably almost all the continents you've drilled on, and you've drilled with some of the largest companies to some of the medium-sized companies, and I suspect after about 3,000 wells, you just quit counting.
That I haven't really counted them. Been at it a long time, though.
Well, Shorty, we've started this company, and some people may wonder, why we'd start a company up, and obviously with the cost of oil increasing, the political unrest around the world, the necessity and the demands that we have, certainly from an economic perspective, bring a lot of value to our proposition. But in addition to that is the ability to blend science with a sense and knowledge of local wells. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about this prospect we're looking at from an operator's perspective.
Well, it's a fault trap mechanism that's been defined by seismic information, seismic science, and it looks promising. It's fairly close to the Enigma field, which has the same sort of seismic information on it, and it's productive. And then also in the immediate area is the Cottonwood Creek field. So it's in an oil-producing province, and it has some merit. And on top of that, it's fairly inexpensive project to work on. It's only about 5,000 feet. The depths that we're talking about, 5,000–6,000 feet. And that's attractive because a lot of those have been passed over the years.
Well, as our investors will see, that there's this 10-sleep sand layer that was laid down in the Pennsylvanian period about 350 million years ago, and it's kind of formed in the oil kitchen and is cooked there and percolated up, and a lot of it maybe has escaped, but in those places where there's, like you mentioned, a great trap there, they provide opportunities for some substantial pools, and there's about 30 fields around us in these areas, and they all seem to be in the 300 to 600 barrel a day production when they're in the right location. Is that correct?
Well, that's correct. In the Bighorn Basin, Washakie County, the Bighorn Basin is got substantial oil production, has had over the years, and so it's consequently, it's a good prospect.
We also have refining capacities. How far are they away?
About 40 miles, I think, to Worland, I think.
To Worland, and plenty of capacity in the plant itself. So we're hooked into an excellent infrastructure right there, a good go-to-market opportunity for production.
True.
What about other opportunities in the area along the fault block thrusts that maybe you can talk about some of those we're looking at, Shorty?
Well, of some interest, as we've talked about, is Koch Industries, which is a large conservative operator. They picked up a substantial lease just to the north of this prospect. So it's not like you're the only one thinking about it.
Now, we're actually going to be able to share science with them, aren't we?
That's correct.
I understand they're scheduled this spring to maybe do some 3D seismic that would tie into those 2D lines that we have.
They've already asked permission to go across this property to tie in those seismic lines. So, it's, as I said, we're not out in the wilderness. That's what I'm talking about.
But we are in a beautiful area, aren't we?
Oh, yes, that's true.
And we're just knocking on the door of Yellowstone Park and Teton National Park, a little bit to the south. And 10 Sleep is kind of a fun name. It's an Indian name, I guess, comes from the fact that the Indians said that was 10 sleeps away from Yellowstone National Park.
That's something like that.
So
yes.
It took them 10 days to get there on pony and foot, and we get there a little faster. And so hopefully, as our guests come out, some of our investors would love to put them up in Yellowstone, take them on up and show them the fields, and hope they take home a bottle of oil in their pocket.
Well, I hope so, and it's an interesting area anyway. And then it's right at the foot of the Bighorn Mountains, which goes over into the Sheridan Buffalo area, which over there, and you get over into Natrona County and the Gillette area, and that's all producing oil and coal and all of these things that are in the area.
Really rich area, isn't it? The Bakken Fields a little bit to the north and up there in Dakotas, and Even some of the properties we're looking at down in the Utah area has got some attractive plays, doesn't it?
Oh yes, very much so.
Well, I think the fact that we're kind of a small company, we focus our resources primarily on leasehold interest and production, offer high reward. It's a high risk business, but high reward opportunities for people who join with us.
Well, it is a high risk business, but as you mentioned, the rewards are good. And it's a big gamble, but the oil industry has always been full of big gamblers. But you never saw a big gambler that didn't win a big stake at some time or other.
That's right. Well, and we just soon deploy some of the resources here at home. We've got great markets for it, good opportunities, and I think you develop a smell for oil. Is that true, Shorty, over the years?
Well, you develop in the drilling operations, which is my business. In drilling operations, you develop a certain sense of what's going on as you penetrate the earth. And there are certain things that happen that you can be aware of. And one thing that's been prevalent over the years and has caused operators to miss many fields over the years is overpressures with their drilling fluid. And so a lot of these are low pressure reservoirs. And for years I've worked on that aspect of it. I've had all kind of operations that we've done whatever we could to mitigate overburdening prospective producing formations. And we've done airlift operations, we've done all sorts of things to mitigate that. And a lot of companies have come to the conclusion that they missed a few things. We have a large oil field here in southern Utah. Chevron will tell you, I've heard them say so. We missed that, and sadly.
Yeah, they're feeling bad about that one now when they're pulling the oil out. And you had that up in Wyoming too, didn't you, where they drilled right through a productive field and they were looking for high pressure oil, and that's just not how it manifested itself.
Well, they're in the Pinedale Anticline. See, it's a huge gas field. And at one time, the Belco Corporation owned all of the leases up in that area. And those boys in New York are probably jumping out of the 10th-story window every morning because of that's a tremendous gas field up there. And at one time, they were they were the lone operator around Big Piney.
Well, we still have some big players though up in the Bighorn area, don't we?
Oh yes, yeah. They're you've got big players. See, just to the north and west of this area here is Marathon. Those old Marathon fields. They're all up there.
And British Petroleum, they still connected to the Marathon Group?
Well, no, they bought out Amoco.
So it was Amoco.
It was Amoco, but see, the Cottonwood field was discovered by Amoco.
Oh, so that is a British Petroleum Amoco field that's just 20, 30 miles north of this play.
That's correct.
Yeah. So been a lot of primary players there, as well as small, medium-sized players, and a lot of opportunity. And I'm told that the best place to find oil is where other folks have found it.
Well, it's like what's his name? Willie Sutton robbing banks. That's where the money was.
That's right. Well, this is a fun business. We're a fun group to work with, and we don't like to take a lot of risks, but we know this is a business of calculated risks, and we apply science to it.
Excuse me.
We get the best science we can. We get the best guys in the field who really had the experience on the rigs and know how to bring a well in. And we choose good locations, and we think on that basis we don't have the political risk you have in parts of the world. We have a friendly government here that's putting incentives. They recognize the importance of that for us now. We have the market and the demand, the infrastructure is right there, so we don't have to go build pipelines or build refineries. That's already done. And the prospect, this one prospect we're addressing is a Horton Draw. It just got some really interesting trapping mechanisms, and the geologists are pretty excited about it. So, Shorty, we're glad you're working with us on this, and as we do this and other projects, we appreciate your leadership and the experience you've developed over many years.
Well, it's my pleasure, and these projects, the oil field is a fun game. It's a high-risk game, but it's a fun game.
Great.
It is exciting, from one day to the next. Every well is a different challenge.
Now, I'm told that when I go back to Wyoming, I better show up with my Stetson hat. Is that true?
Well, there you better show up with your hat and boots, and then the rest will fill in.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks a million.
Thank you.